All right, so today we're going to be talking about how to overcome shoot anxiety, those pre-shoot nerves, how to calm yourself and make sure that you're getting the best out of your shoot and make sure that you are settled and relaxed, because a relaxed you is going to get the best content. Let's run through some tips of how to get over shoot day anxiety. I think a big thing that I found out was I previously suffered with anxiety quite a lot, not just on shoot days, but in general. And one thing I realized is when you have anxiety, it's not a bad thing. It just means you care about something. It means that something is meaningful enough to you that it's making an impact on your mental state. So when it comes to shooting, you're obviously caring about your client, you're caring about how your shoot's going to go, but there's ways that you can manage it. You can structure, prep, and organize your shoot so you can free up all the headspace so you're not worrying about, are you forgetting things or, are you good enough on the day? You have a clear structure and that you're concise and you know what you're going to get out of the day. Disclaimer, these are things I still struggle with today. Okay, so the first thing starts long before shooting, and that is pre-planning. Now, before we get into organizing gear and making sure that you've got your SD cards and all those things, the biggest thing people get anxious about is how they're going to actually deal with the talent on shoot, how they're going to deal with a client, is everything going to run smoothly, especially if you're a beginner to an intermediate and you haven't had much experience. These can be the biggest reasons as to why you're nervous on shoot. I can't stress this enough. Failing to plan is planning to fail. I think it is one of the best quotes I've ever heard. I don't know who it's from, but it genuinely speaks volumes, because if you're rocking up to a shoot, no matter how relaxed it is, no matter how run and gun is, and you have no plan, you're taking up brain power to come up with ideas on the go. And realistically, you should be freeing up every bit of creative space in your brain to find your flow and make sure that you can just create what you need. You're always constantly coming up with ideas on the shoot, but the last thing you want to worry about is when's the light going to hit? What's the location going to be? All these things which are just taking up brain power. You want to have your brain seamlessly following everything that you've pre-planned, and then you rock up to a shoot and a little dose of creative ideas can flow, and that's usually when you're going to get your best shots. But knowing that you've structured your whole shoot is the best thing for you. I use a platform called Milanote. It really is the best way for me to manage all my ideas on one page. I'm a very visual person, so for me, having just a list of notes on my phone just never cut it. I always need visual references, videos, different things that are going to help me know what I'm shooting on the shoot. That way I can quickly glance at my phone and know exactly what I want to shoot. The next thing is the night before. So it's really important to make sure you're getting a good night's sleep, having an early night, having a good routine, putting screens down, and whether you want to go over your Milanote board the night before, go through some bits of inspiration. I find that helps really well, especially going to bed. That way, when you're lying in bed, you can really visualize your own ideas for tomorrow. But previously, before going to bed, the biggest thing you can do is actually 24 hours before the shoot starts is have your list ready to go of what you need to have for the shoot. So that's organizing things like batteries, SD cards, especially batteries. Put your batteries on charge 24 hours, maybe even 48 hours before your shoot. That way they're going to charge in a couple of hours, and then a couple of hours later that night you can literally pack everything in your bag ready to go for the next morning. I think my biggest worry is, do I have everything? Have I got my camera, SD card, battery goes in, all those things? But it does happen where you forget the simplest of things. Making sure that you have every little detail ticked off on a list before your shoot is literally so important. And then running through, making sure that everything is there, everything is in place. So the morning mindset. But yeah, getting up out of bed, getting in the shower, starting your day fresh with plenty of time, making sure you've got time to get to your location if there's traffic, making sure you're allowing time to travel, to park, all those little things that you don't take into account for often. So, even small things like setting up, like bringing all your bags, and you might need to do a couple of trips. So if your shoot starts at 8 a.m. the next morning, I'd honestly recommend getting there at 7:30 or 7:40. getting there early is never a bad thing. Like, even if you're waiting outside for the client to come in, at least you're organized and prepared. But another little tip I find when actually waking up out of bed, because I don't know about you guys if you're a morning person or not, but me personally, I am far from a morning person. I lack motivation to get up in the morning, and the only thing getting me up is just sheer discipline. It's the sheer fact of going, I have to get up out of bed. So one thing, what I do is I make it as hard as possible for me to stay in bed. I charge my phone on the other side of the room or in a bathroom, and the alarm goes off. I set a couple, and trust me, when your alarm goes off and you're freezing, you jump out of bed, turn it off. You're literally right next to your shower. Turn the hot water on. I also have a little portable heater I have as well, so I just sit in front of that. But once you're out of bed, it's a lot easier to start. The next thing is controlling what you can on the shoot. Now, 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, something is going to go wrong on your shoot. That's just natural. Everything does. And nothing's ever going to go according to plan, which is why you need to make sure that you have enough headroom to make those changes and make those things to alleviate your anxiety when things go wrong. That's why having those pre-plans, getting up early, making sure your batteries are charged, and having a pre-plan is super important, because when these things go wrong, you're able to adapt and think creatively without taking up too much space from what you're actually there to do. But when you get to a shoot, it really is important to understand that you're not going to be, firing off bangers straight away. It really is important to warm up. It's like any athlete. We've filmed quite a lot of athletes in the past, and we always make sure that they're warmed up beforehand. So they're doing their they're running around the track, they're, doing their stretches, things like that. As a filmmaker, you should be doing your stretches and warming up. Now, you have to do this in a creative sense. So, it is always good to stretch out your back, because my back is literally cooked from the amount of shoots I've done. But stretching out your muscles creatively is so important. So even if you're on a short amount of time with your talent, just try and get those basic shots first, the ones that are just clean. Maybe if they're just a bit of, 60 frames, just a couple of slow-mo shots, looking down the barrel of the camera, just those things to warm up your mind a little bit creatively, and then get into more of those challenging compositions. Another thing is being anxious to actually communicate with your talent. To be working with the talent for the first time can be scary, or the 100th time can also be scary. I have done a video on this before about how to work with models and tips on working with talent and models. I definitely recommend you checking that out, and hopefully it appears here. But a big part to alleviate those stresses is learning good communication skills. So making sure that you're speaking slowly, calmly, and really believe in your point. That's like one thing that I'm trying to really do when I'm on my shoot. I actually try and think that I'm like the best director out there, and I'm like a genius. I don't know about you guys, but when I was at school or at uni and the teacher questioned me on something, I would always kind of like frown a little bit and kind of answer a question in this way that I thought was profound, and I'd really pretend to be the smartest kid. And I definitely was not the smartest kid. So really embodying that confidence within yourself to think, okay, no, I am actually really good at what I do. And if something goes wrong, I'm able to overcome that because I am smart. Like, I'm smart. I know how to deal with things. And on top of that, it is really important to make sure that you're calm and collected. And, when you're that director on shoot, everyone kind of looks to you to know what is going on. So if you're the one who's flustered and you're the one who's getting really anxious, everyone else is going to be anxious. So yes, that does put a bit of anxiety and pressure on you, but knowing that your tone sets the tone for the rest of the film or the rest of the video is almost a great thing, because you can go in with that mindset that this video, this shoot is going to go really well, and everyone will match that energy. And the last tip is just backing yourself. I know I kind of mentioned this just before about confidence and embodying that person that you want to be, but honestly, you have to understand that you have been chosen by these people to make this video, and that is because you are good enough. You're good enough to create this stuff. And most people on shoots will remember how you made them feel rather than how you actually did on the shoot. But if you're creating insane footage, but you're just cold and you're not friendly and you're standoffish, no one's really going to enjoy that shoot. You'd honestly rather have a, decent shoot. Your shooting's okay, but you're really friendly, good energy. People are going to remember that. People are going to want to shoot with you again. So it is all about your energy. And the best creators that I know have that mix of charisma and calmness. They're making sure that they're authentic, they're clear, they're focused. They have that authority of the crew, but they make sure that they're never cold. They're never looking down on someone, but they are taking the lead and making sure that they are the most confident one on the set. If you're the one who keeps everyone calm, the talent feels safe, the client feels that they're in good hands because of your energy, most likely you're going to be asked to shoot again. And honestly, even if the video doesn't turn out well, but you did really well on the shoot, most likely that they're going to work around and kind of have this different perception on how the video is going to come together. If you create an amazing video, but you were an absolute dickhead on the shoot, they're probably going to give you a lot of changes and just come in with this negative vibe. I almost look at it like, honestly, like an English teacher at school. Like, I mean, my English teachers, if my English teacher didn't like me, no matter what I wrote, they're coming in with that perception of this ain't going to be a good essay. Whereas if my teacher did like me, they would read my essays and give me a little bit of like even if they weren't good, they'd give me that boost of confidence. They would look at it in a different light because like an English exam, video is subjective. So your client is always going to be a lot nicer in feedback if you're actually really present on the shoot and making sure that you're a good person. If this helped you guys at all, let me know in the comments. And hopefully I'll be making some more tips and tricks videos in the future and maybe some breakdowns, those sorts of things. I know I've said it for so long that I want to make my YouTube an actual thing, but there is hopefully going to be more time coming in the next couple of months. I am moving out of this place, which I'm currently my parents. So I'm excited when I move into the new place, get that YouTube studio sorted and start making some crazy videos. So thanks once again, guys. Really appreciate watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at j.bevs, and I'll see you guys in the next one.